Okay, so ignore the other ingredients that are on the counter because I'm going to be making a dessert later. But I was making some dressing for our turkey dinner, and I thought I would share it with you guys because it's probably not how most people make it. I was born and raised in Newfoundland, and we have what we call dressing. Now, most people call it stuffing, but I don't know why, but we call it dressing. And all it is, and I've already done this because I didn't think of doing the video until after, it's breadcrumbs. I just took a loaf of bread and put it through the food processor and ground it up. So there's breadcrumbs, and there's some margarine. I just use whatever I have on hand, and I used crystal margarine. And then when we go to Newfoundland, we pick up a bunch of this savory, and it just says it's pure savory. And this is Newfoundland right here. So, and I put a bunch of that in there. I've already put some in there, so I'm not going to put any more in there. And I add a bit of salt and pepper and half of a chopped onion in this size bowl. And then you just mix it together. You know how when you mix shortbread, you keep mixing it until it gets crumbly and there's like clumps? That's pretty much what you do with this. And you just mix it through. Now, usually I stuff the bird. Well, I get my husband to stuff the bird with the stuff. But today I am not doing that. I'm going to put this in foil wrap and put it in the oven. And then you just bake it for a bit. I'm not sure of the time. I'll see when we do it today how long it goes in there for. Now this is one I've already done. I separate it into 2 bowls because there's more room to mix it. So as you can see, it's still loose, but there's a little bit of clumps, and the margarine's been worked all the way through. And that is our Newfoundland dressing, and it is the best stuff. If you ever go to Newfoundland, there's a dish called, it's wedgies with dressing and gravy. And no, it is not Weight Watcher friendly at all. There's nothing, absolutely nothing about it that's Weight Watcher friendly, except they use potatoes. But potatoes are points. And it's just potato wedges, but they have this special coating, and they're deep fried, of course, and then they put dressing, like once they're cooked, they put them in the plate, they put dressing on top, and then gravy. And it is the best thing ever. And whenever I go to Newfoundland, Weight Watchers or not, I will have wedgies, dressing, and gravy. You have to try it at least once. And there are people out there, I think they're crazy, but there are people that have French fries with dressing and gravy instead, but no, you have to have wedgies. If you're going to try it for the first time, try it with wedgies, and then if you find you're not a fan of the wedgie, then you can try it with French fries, but who doesn't like wedgies? That's just crazy talk. Okay, so that's it. That is Newfoundland dressing. probably made too much. But again, usually half of this goes in the turkey, and then the other half, because my husband likes it dry, and I like it more wet. So I like the dressing that goes in the turkey, and he likes the dry stuff. But being on Weight Watchers, I'm not going to bother stuffing the turkey. Now Christmas I probably will, but for today, for Thanksgiving, I'm just going to have some dry stuff. I figure that way maybe I won't eat as much. And I'll figure out once it's done cooking. And really, there's not much cooking to it because nothing is raw, only the onion. But then I'll figure out, I've put the ingredients in the recipe builder. All that's left to do is to say how many servings it makes. And I will do that when it is done. So probably, I don't know, maybe an hour, half hour before we're ready to eat, I'll slip these in the oven with the turkey. Like not in the roasting pan with the turkey, just on the grate in the oven. Okay, so this is another Newfoundland thing. I mean, maybe they do it elsewhere, I'm not sure, but to me this is home. So anyway, I'm going to make bread pudding. And this is where my points are going to come in for Thanksgiving dinner, for Christmas dinner. And unfortunately, it's my favorite parts. It's the dressing and the bread pudding and the gravy. Like the highest point foods that are like not good for you. I do love turnip and I like carrot and potato, but this is the part that makes it a turkey dinner for me. So in a bread pudding, you're going to take white bread, and it calls for stale bread, but I just use whatever white bread I have on hand, whether it's stale or not. And I'm going to show you how I put it in the recipe builder as well. So you open up your Weight Watcher app, which I'll show you right from the beginning. So you open your Weight Watcher app, and you scroll down to create a recipe. I don't know how well this is showing up. It's a little bright. So you hit create a recipe, and then you enter the name, and it's bread pudding, and add ingredient. And then I'm going to hit the scan. I'm going to scan the bread. And just scan the barcode. And for 2 slices, it's 6 points. And I'm probably going to use, let's see. Now this is like, my husband bought the Texas toast, so it is thicker than we normally have. We'll try 6 slices first. Let's see if that's enough. See, it's 17 points just in the bread. And then you hit add ingredient. So what you need to do with the bread is run it under some water, and I run it under water and I have the strainer there, and you got to squeeze the bread and try to get as much water out of it as you can. So this is gross, but it tastes good. So you're just squeezing the bread. And I just got sprayed. And you just keep squeezing until you get as much water out of it as you can. Yeah. Really appetizing looking, hey? Telling you, some of our food may sound really weird, but it is so good. Newfies know how to cook, let me tell you that. It's probably why I'm overweight. Food like this. But mind you, I only have this like 2 or 3 times a year. So it's not like something I eat weekly or even monthly. If we have a turkey dinner, and I don't always make it every single time I have turkey dinner either, but Thanksgiving and Christmas are special, especially Christmas. And my husband and I are the only ones that eat this, and we're the only ones that eat the dressing. My kids don't care for either of it. They do like the wedgies though from Newfoundland. So I think I'm gonna do 2 more slices. I doubt anybody's going to watch this and actually make it. But I just thought I'd share a little of our culture, our tradition, food that we make. And some of you may already have heard of this. Like maybe the English. Okay. So I'm going to have to change that in the app. So I'll just click on the bread that I added, and I'll click on the slices, and I'll change that to 8 because I added 2 more slices. And then I'll hit update tracked recipe. Okay, now add another ingredient because we are going to add some sugar. I know, it sounds weird. So I'm going to use about 1/3 of a cup. Actually, do I want that much? I'm going to put some of it on there first. And you want flour. So I'm going to add the sugar first. I'm going to type in sugar, search, and scroll till I find white sugar. Now if it was only me using it, I could try using stevia or something like that, but I'm not going to wreck this for my husband. And like I said, it's only once or twice a year that I eat it. And I'm going to add my flour. And that is about 1/2 cup of flour. And add ingredient. And then it's just seasonings. Like it doesn't call for salt or pepper or anything like that, but I add salt, pepper, onion, and garlic. And yeah, I don't measure. That's one thing, it's really hard to get a recipe from like somebody who's been cooking for years in Newfoundland. I can remember trying to get recipes from my mother-in-law and from my mom. And I'd be like, well, how much? And they're like, I don't know. Like my mother-in-law trying to teach me how to make bread. And I'd be like, so how much flour do you put in? Oh, a bag of flour. Well, what size bag? Oh, I don't know. I usually buy the... I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, how much sugar or salt? And she's like, well, I just pour it in my hand until it gets about here. I was like, okay, for one, your hands are smaller than mine, and that's not a measurement. But it was so hard trying to learn. And they cook really well. They are good cooks. just mixing this through. And they say to stir your flour before you take your measurement, because if it's been a while since you used it, the flour has settled, so you'll actually get more flour than it calls for. I saw that somewhere once, I can't remember where. So I haven't even used all the sugar that it calls for. So it called for half a cup, and I only measured out 1/3 of a cup. And then I didn't even use all of that. I just put back about 1.5 tablespoons of it. We'll see if this one turns out as good as it usually does. And I don't add all the flour at once because I wait to see if I need it all. So come to think of it, I don't usually measure for certain things either. I am going to need more flour because that's pretty sticky. And this is a 1/4 cup measuring cup, and I've already added 1. So this is the second one. There's another pudding I like as well. It's a peas pudding, but I'm the only one that likes that. My husband doesn't even like that one, so I don't tend to make it very often. Especially now being on Weight Watchers, like I can do without it. I'll wait until, I don't know, if I ever go home and they're having turkey dinner and they make it, then I'll have some then. But like, I like it, but it's not going to bother me to go without. Now this one I really like, so I'd be a little bummed not having bread pudding. So I'm just kind of like kneading it like you would a bread. Just getting the flour mixed in. So I did use a 1/2 cup of flour. And I just put it into a bowl. And then this, hold on, let me get some of this off my hands. This reminds me of making bread. So this is a pudding bag. I'll never forget one Christmas. My mother-in-law sent, well, she used to send presents every year. She sent a box of things, and I got, she would make a stocking full of stuff for us and send it out to us. And in my stocking, there was a pudding bag. And I got so excited when I opened it and I saw I had a pudding bag. And Mark, my husband's like, seriously? And he told his mom, he's like, her favorite present was the pudding bag. That's what she got most excited about. So, yeah. That's another thing we'll buy when we go home if I'm in need of a pudding bag. So you just slip that into the bag. I need to get some of this off my hands. I need to find a piece of string. There we go, perfect. So, and you want to tie the bag as tightly as you can. And this is usually helpful to have another person here, but I am home alone right now, so I'm going to have to try and do it myself. Okay, that is good. And I'll put, this calls for 18 to 25 minutes, but I always cook mine for longer. So I'll put this in the pot with my vegetables. Usually around either when I put my turnip or carrot in. Because I can always take it out early if it's done. So I'll probably put it in when I put my turnip in, which is the first vegetable that goes in the pot. So, and I will try to remember to show you what it's like when it's cooked. Oh, for servings, let's say this is cooked. It's going to be about the same size. So let's say I cut that in half. This is a small pudding. My husband may be sad. So let's say that was 6 pieces. So we'll put serves. I have flour on my hand so it's not taking my finger. There we go. So it's going to be 7 points for 1 piece of pudding. That hurts. That hurts. Okay, so I don't usually bother with dessert for Thanksgiving, but my kids like desserts. We'll see if they like this one. It's a Weight Watcher recipe. So all it calls for is angel food cake, and you can make one, like buy the box mix and make one. I just bought an already made one because it's so much easier. 1 pack of fat-free butterscotch pudding, and it calls for 8 fun-size Butterfinger chocolate bars, but I live in Canada and we don't have Butterfinger, so I bought Crispy Crunch because that's pretty much our version, and I didn't have fun size, so I'm thinking 8 fun size would probably equal, I don't know, maybe 2 regulars. I don't know if I'll use 2 or 3, we'll see. So I'm going to use Crispy Crunch bars, and it also calls for 1.5 cups of milk. And I am using skim milk. So all it says to do is to take your package of butterscotch pudding, and your 1.5 cups of milk, and just whisk until it is combined. Okay, now that we got our workout in, I probably should have got a bigger bowl because we're going to fold in 2 containers of light Cool Whip. I'm just folding that in. I've actually thought, like when I was reading the recipe, I thought this would probably be good as a dessert just like this. Like put it in a bowl, skip the angel food cake. So of course I'm going to try it. Okay, with one peck of Cool Whip, I find it a bit sweet, but we'll see once we add the second one. Okay, so that's our pudding mixture. And then you're to take an angel food cake, this will come out, and crumble it up. Okay. I did not lick it all off my fingers. I washed my hands instead. So that's the cake. So now for the bar. I'm going to take a freezer bag. I'm going to break it up a little first. That didn't break up very much. Oh, the cardboard's in there. I forgot it comes in a piece of cardboard. It's been a long time since I ate a bar. Forgot about that. Temptation. Okay, they definitely had more than that in their picture. Let's just do the whole shebang. That way it's not left over. Smells so good. This is not a good thing to be making, like a new Weight Watcher. This is like a whole lot of temptation. Zip that up and get some frustrations out. So you can be like, I want chocolate. Okay, so we're going to take half of the cake and spread it along the bottom. Might need to break it up a little more. And we're going to take half of the Cool Whip. When I was in the grocery store, I tried to find a substitute for the chocolate bar. Like, I thought, well, maybe I could use like Fiber One something or a Special K bar, but I couldn't find anything that was maybe, like, because you wanted that hard crunch, because this is going to be sitting in Cool Whip, so you don't want it to get too soggy. So my husband didn't think any of those things would work, so we went for the chocolate bar. So then I'm going to sprinkle some of this on top. This does not feel like a Weight Watcher recipe. Not at all. I don't think there's any part of me that's going to feel deprived eating this. We're going to take the rest of our cake. I may have put too much in the first layer. This is a big pan though. And then the rest of our pudding mixture. My hands are clean. Now we're going to sprinkle the rest of the chocolate bar on top. I will work out the points to this, but I have to eat lunch first because I am starving. So I will figure out the points and post it.